Hi everyone, how are you doing today? It is Wednesday, January 30th. It's the last Wednesday of January 2019 already. Hope you are all well. I am. I'm doing well. I'm cold, but I'm well. We are in a bit of a cold spurt here in Jersey. I know it's not nearly as cold as many of you are in the Midwest. And I can only imagine what that feels like. Thankfully, it's not that cold here. And I know our wind chills are going to get below 0 Fahrenheit, but our regular temperatures are not going to get below 0 here in my neck of the woods. So that is a plus. But yes, it's going to be pretty cold tonight as our temperatures dip into the cold temperatures. So keep looking over to make sure I have everything on my pile of stuff. I have a lot to talk about today. But this week has been an interesting week. I've been kind of, again, all over the place as far as my crafting. And you'll see why in a minute. I want to thank you all for the wonderful positive comments that the majority of you gave me for my diamond painting video that came out on Monday. I think that will become, I'm not going to make any promises. They'll come out when they come out. But I do enjoy offering a wide variety of crafting videos for a wide variety audience. So, you know, if it's your taste and your pleasure, then I hope you enjoy the videos. And, you know, I try to make something a little bit for everyone. And so I hope you enjoy those. Other than that, it's been a busy week with school and work and crafting. So luckily, schoolwork has not taken up too much time so far. I've been able to do most of it early enough to keep me pretty much on point so I can stay on top of things. So Saturday morning I got up and I did about a half hour of work and then I was done. So that was pretty nice and good, and we're on track for staying on top of things, which is good because I am a procrastinator to like the 12,000th degree, and I always seem to do best under pressure, which is not, I mean, I guess everyone has their uniqueness. It's not always the best because then I get stressed out about it, but I'm trying not to do that this time. So we will see what happens. This week's video has no purchases. I have nothing to show you as far as progress acquisitions of any kind. So, and who knows when that will happen again. So I'm not planning on making any purchases. So we're going to go right into knitting first because it's going to be a quick and easy thing. Last night, while I was sitting here on the couch, I was knitting on my sweater. I'm not going to show that to you today because it's not anything significant enough to make it for most of you to really know what I did. I put about 16 rows into the front of the sweater, and I have about 16 more rows before we get to the V-neck, where I can then break off into the left and right shoulder panel. So that is where I'm at now. I also, over the weekend, I think it was over the weekend, I think it was Saturday. Saturday, I think I finished the first sock on my friend's sock. He tried it on and it fits perfectly. It's a little loose around the leg and the calf. I think the next sock I try, I'm going to do a ribbed sock the whole way down the leg, just to try to vary it up and try something different. So that will be interesting and fun. But I did finish this sock. I went ahead and recaked the cake of yarn because I was having some issues with it. It was getting pretty knotted up there. And why is this all Okay, that's just the yarn. I went ahead and started the second sock. So I'm about 20 rows into the leg of the second sock. So there you go. So that is going nice and smooth, and hopefully we'll have a second pair of socks, or another pair of socks, very soon. While I was caking up, recaking this ball of, I call it ball, we're just going to have to deal with that term. While I was recaking this yarn, I went ahead and caked up the remaining sock yarn that I have so that I can be ready to go for any other socks that I decide to start after I get this one done. So I have 3 more skeins of sock yarn, and if you're in the Learn to Knit Socks group with us, you can see the picture of that. I titled it Potential. So there you go. That is my knitting update. Now, I have a surprise. If you all remember, last Monday during Martin Luther King Day, I went ahead and organized my stitching supplies in my corner and my cabinet and all of the space that I keep my stitching and knitting supplies in. I decided to, as I was doing that, I found some some finished projects that I went ahead and ironed, and I hung them up in my closet so whenever I do get to the point of framing, that I will have them ready to go and they're not getting permanent creases in the fabric. So they are ironed and ready for stretching and framing. While I was doing that, I also came across my one and only UFO, which for any of you who do not know what that means unfinished object. I don't like to have things unfinished. I know I always tout stitch what you like, and if you don't like it, why are you stitching it? But I don't like to have things undone. I like to finish things. Once I start something, I want to finish it. Especially because if I put money into it and I have a vested interest in it, I want to have it finished. So I decided to pull it back out and add it to my current projects. So many of you will remember from 2 years ago, I started Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery Pumpkin Passport Sal. And I was doing this with Coffee Stitcher Gerald. And we did this a year behind when this actually came out. So I think this came out in 2015, or maybe it came out in 2000. Yeah, it came out in 2016, and we were going to stitch it in 2017. So in December of 2016, I went ahead and did all of Let's Go on an Adventure and the border around that so that I could be ready to start London. So when I put this away, I had London and Amsterdam completely. London, I think, yeah, London and Amsterdam were both completely done. So I had 2 of The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is there only 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed Paris. I had 3 on the top done. London, Paris, and Amsterdam. So I had the last 3 to go. I'm not sure where this is. Maybe Basel, Switzerland, Santorini, and Moscow. Or I guess you could call it England, France, the Netherlands, and I think this is Switzerland. Switzerland, Greece, and Russia. I had those 3 left to do on the top. So when I pulled this out and I started working on this last Tuesday. That's the wrong one. I started working on this last Tuesday, and then I finished. There's where I'm at. So here is the Netherlands, and I went ahead and worked on, I'm guessing this is Switzerland. If it's not Switzerland, please correct me in the comments below in a nice positive comment. I could probably look back in the pattern, but I don't feel like doing that. So I went ahead and finished this one, and I did Greece. And as I was stitching these, I remembered why I didn't like it. It's just not my thing. It's much too cute for me. I'm never going to display this in my home, but I don't like having finished or unfinished things. What is a man to do? I'm still going to finish it. So as I continue throughout the year, I'm hopefully going to continue working on, because I got these 2 done, I feel some motivation to continue working and knock these out. They should really not take that much time. I think because I did 2 countries at one time, it kind of like wore me down a bit. It took me 3 days to do these 2 countries. I think if I don't do that and I just do 1 country at a time, it won't be so bad. So when I have a weekend or a Saturday that I just don't know what I want to stitch, or I'm feeling like I need to vary it up a bit, I will pull this out and work on it, because I need to have this finished. Even if it just sits in my closet as a finished object and never get displayed, I'm perfectly fine with that, because this is an example of something that as I grew as a stitcher, my tastes have changed, yet I still appreciate this because I love travel and I love world cultures. So I appreciate the design. It's just not my aesthetic at this point in my life. Anyways, Pumpkin Passport Sal. And we have coffee. Okay. Once I was done with Pumpkin Passport Sal, I decided to work on my mushrooms. So if you remember from last week, I had this little mushroom done, and so I went ahead and finished the large mushroom. So this mushroom motif is completely done. So if you recall, oh, and I have it put away, so I don't have it out, so we're just going to have to deal with it. So I have one more motif here in the corner, and the bottom will be completely stitched. Because I had to move the Q-snap, I went ahead and pulled it out of the Q-snap, and I had the iron out, so I went ahead and ironed it, so we could at least keep the wrinkles to a minimum and at bay. So here is my mushroom sampler to date. It's much bigger than it actually looks, isn't it? Of course, I don't have it centered on the fabric, but you know, that is what it is. It doesn't matter. So the plan going forward will be to, I'm really feeling highly motivated to work on the mushrooms right now. So this is probably something we're going to see frequently, at least through these next few months. The plan going forward will be to work over here on the side. Let me get my hand here correctly. And do the next motif here. And then come down and complete the corner. Only because I'm not quite sure if my borders line up perfectly. And if they don't, there is some wiggle room there in the corner motif that I can work out to make the borders line up. I'm fairly certain they're very, very close, but if they're not quite perfect, this pattern, because of all the white space, lends itself to plenty of wiggle room to ensure that it will work itself out. So yeah, mushroom sampler. Very pleased with that so far. And I've been working on that for over a year now, so I'm kind of feeling motivated to get that one done. And then finally, after I finished that mushroom motif, I went ahead and pulled out my By the Bay 13th Colony Part 2. And I have not worked on this since Thanksgiving. Oh, speaking of Thanksgiving, if you remember from last week, I was looking for the missing DMC 898 bobbin. The mystery has been solved. I am not one to keep floss in project bags. I don't do that. I typically don't take my projects anywhere unless I'm traveling for a holiday. So for me, that is not something I ever thought of doing or checking, because I don't keep floss in project bags unless it goes with a kit. All of my floss exists in my master set of DMC, and I use all of my projects come from my master set of DMC. Oh, there's my needle I was missing. Okay. Anyways, let me put that on here actually. There we go. Okay. So when I went on Thanksgiving to my brother's house, I took Lady of the Flag with me. Apparently, I never unpacked that floss from the project bag after Thanksgiving. $8.98 was in that bag. Mystery solved. So when I get back to my Winter Wisdom pattern, I now have the floss that I need in order to work on that project. Yay! Okay. I don't have to go buy more floss because it was driving me nuts. I did not want to have to go buy a new skein of $8.98 because I'm like, I have all the DMC. Where did it go? So, By the Bay, 13th Colony, Part 2. Remember, I'm doing it one long panorama all together, all three parts. And I've not touched this since Thanksgiving. And here is my progress. So this week, I went ahead and did all of this darker color blue. I did all of the brown in the ship and the house and the tree. I did both of these houses completely. I did the sheep. I did the fence around the house, or around the island here. And I started filling in some of the lighter color of the water here. So all I have left of the water on this side is right here in this area. And then I'm going to start working on the island. And I'll probably go up and start filling in all of the trees on this side. This side, this half of the pattern, okay, so because as you can see, it's basically this pattern is broken in two and it goes right up through the middle of the island. This pattern is pretty much, this half of the pattern is pretty much done except for the trees and the island and a teeny tiny bit of the water left. Now, the other thing that I'm not sure if I'm going to do, I might leave it off, and I'm not sure. If you can see very closely up there, there's a sun in between the trees. I don't know if I'm going to stitch the sun. I don't know if I like the sun enough to make it. Because of the type of fabric I chose, it's kind of like a dreary, murky sky. I don't want to say murky. It's like a dreary, overcast sky. I don't know if a sun would work. To me, a sun wouldn't be visible in a sky that looks like this. So I might leave the sun off. I haven't decided on that yet. I think once I get both trees up and then I can see what the whole picture looks like, I'll decide if it warrants having something in between. I don't know yet. If you have any thoughts, feel free to let me know in the comments. But I'm kind of liking it with just like the overcast, cloudy, the sun is behind the clouds type of sky. And that's all the stitching I have for you today. Yeah, that's all the stitching I have for you today. I hope you all have a wonderful week. If you haven't checked out my patterns in Etsy, you can go check that out, Ginger Gerald Designs. All three of the Stories of the North patterns are there for purchase. I am currently working on finalizing parts 4 and 5, and we'll have them up in the next couple months. At least part 4 will be up in the next month or so, and then part 5 will be coming out probably spring. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and until I see you again, which will probably be Saturday for a craft with me video, don't forget to always be creative.